Welcome back to the Kahler Podcast. Today we're talking about the Kahler Hybrid and also a brand new finish that we're really excited about. We're rolling out a black on black hybrid where the base is Black Krome and everything else is black nickel. For players who know our professional series, think about the Kerry King signature tremolo. That's a two-tone with Black Krome and gunmetal gray. The new hybrid finish gives you that same menacing vibe. And to kick it off right, we're going to be running an introductory sale with the 10% off the black on black hybrid within the first 2 weeks of release. So if you've been waiting for a hybrid, this is the time. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing good. How are you this morning, Eddie?
Oh, I couldn't be better. I'm real excited about this bridge. So let's start with something that a lot of players want to know. Is the hybrid made in the USA?
Absolutely. It's made in Fullerton.
What's inside the hybrid that makes it different than the professional series?
So the function is the same. The hybrid, yes, is brass cam, brass rollers.
Some people will notice that the hybrid is right-handed only. Why is that?
If you want a left-handed one, you can buy a Pro, which will go both ways. This is a production piece.
So essentially, it's production cost.
It isn't going to have 100% of the features and benefits that a Pro would.
One thing I've noticed when working with players is how flexible the setup is with the hybrid.
The setup, again, is the same with all cam bridges. The way you adjust the inclination, the way the cam operates, all of it is the same as it's always been.
Yeah, and we can have it fully floating, dive only, or fixed. Although we don't really recommend dive only because of that screw that it could bend eventually, right?
No, I don't know who would want to dive only. If you want to dive only, do what you got to do. All I can tell you is that this is a tremolo that goes both ways, always has been. The same as the Pros do.
So as far as stability, tuning stability, how does the hybrid compare to the professional?
Well, there is no difference as far as tuning stability. It's basically the same mechanical means doing the same thing.
As far as the hybrid goes, we've established that it's made out of the same materials in the same exact machine shop by the same exact people. Are there hybrid parts and professional parts, or do we just have only the one kind of part?
When you want to buy a professional piece, you have selections on what kind of cams you want. You want a steel cam, you want an aluminum cam, you want a brass cam. All the materials and substrates are the same. With a hybrid, you get 360 half hour brass, the same as you would if you ordered a brass cam on a professional. So the only difference simply is this is a 3-hole cam and the Pros are 5-hole cam.
There's not separate professional parts and separate hybrid parts except for that cam. Everything else from the rollers to the plate, everything is the same thing because it wouldn't make any sense to make separate hybrid rollers. So those are Pro rollers on there.
Look, all Kahlers is like an erecto set. We make them all the same. The only difference here is that we make them in larger quantities, and we make them with a 3-hole cam, and we're trying to get it to you at a less expensive price. That's it. So you don't have the options of a lot of things that you do on the Pros.
And that's essentially just so that we can put a bunch together all at the same time, whereas I know that with Pros, we'll usually have them sitting out in certain colors with the 3 different cams on them with no rollers waiting to be assembled. So this has got to cut down a lot on production time, therefore passing the savings on to the customer.
Well, look, quantity dictates the price. We're making this in quantity, so therefore we can sell it for less. And what you see is what you get.
So this essentially has all the same things going on as the original professional, the 2300 back in the 80s, but with the addition of the lock-off and the ergonomic plate that's been redesigned. Other than that, right hand only, brass cam, brass rollers, that's exactly the way that the 2300 was back in the 80s, correct?
Yes. Well, back in the early 80s, yes.
So essentially, What it sounds like to me is the hybrid is the same exact quality as the professional if you're not left-handed, and if you don't want a palm bar up in the top hole or something like that, and you don't really have a preference as far as cam or roller substrate, get a hybrid, save a couple bucks.
Well, yes. And just to remember this also on the pros, on the rollers, you got an option of Teflon glass on the rollers. You got stainless steel. You got 360 half hard brass. So you got many more options. That's the whole thing. And when you have many more options, you have to have somebody that's going to make that happen. And that costs money. It's as simple as that.
Unlike other bridges, I use the hybrid and the professional all the time. I have absolutely no issue putting a hybrid on one of my guitars because it is so good. I'm excited to build 2 guitars around this bridge because this new color scheme is so pretty.
Well, if we're going to talk about a color scheme, then the reason that we have bright nickel as the inter parts and that the main plate, in other words, the mounting plate, is black chrome, is because the people that want black looking black, well, then you want that black plate right on black. However, if you look at it in different ways with a black nickel, it actually, you can see chromium, bright chrome in there because the nickel shows through. So many people put this on a guitar, which is all bright chrome, because they kind of like the difference of the black plate, but the black nickel shines off like almost chrome when the light hits it right. So it's kind of a dimensional. The color is very dimensional. People like that.
I really like that about that bridge too, and I in fact found bodies that have a chameleon flip-flop paint to where as the light changes, the color of the body of the guitar will change and the color of the bridge will change too. It's going to be really cool.
I don't want to bypass either that this has all the features of the mechanics of the Pro as well. You got the same fine tuning basically. It's got the lock off in the back so it can be fixed. 6-way adjustable saddles the same way.
And a clutch for the arm as well.
And you have your spring adjustment from the top, just like the Pros do.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that is something that when people realize that it is so much easier to set this thing up, people will argue because, you know, it can look a little intimidating and complicated, but the truth is this is a much, much easier bridge to set up, and especially to balance the string tension and the spring tension. I don't know of any fully floating bridge that's easier to set up. It's one screw from the top.
You can adjust the saddles in the width you want, anywhere from 2.30 to about a 2.125.
Yep, split those pole pieces right down the middle. It will go tighter than Gibson spacing, and it'll go wider than Fender spacing, so you're not in any kind of trouble in any way.
That's principally the features and benefits of it.
There's one more that I wish everybody knew, because I think that if everybody knew this, all of a sudden they'd be buying cam bridges. You cannot palm mute this out of tune. It's physically impossible because of the physics of a cam bridge. You cannot palm mute it out of tune. You can with every floating fulcrum there is out there.
I agree. And it was meant to be that way, because that was an issue clear back in the 80s, believe it or not. And believe me, I made as many fulcrum bridges as anybody until we came up with the cam bridge with Mr. Story. And that was a big issue with Dave Story. You know, you can palm, doesn't make a difference. And that's very important.
Yeah, that's something that most people don't know, is that Kahler actually started out as the brass factory making high-quality things for Fender, Charvel, which later turned into Charvel Jackson, BC Rich, all these other things. And you were making fulcrums that were not only cutting edge, but fulcrums that even those 70s designs are still better than what most people get today.
Well, the big thing we wanted to get to was fine-tuning. That wasn't even heard of clear back when. But we were the first to come out with that. That's what was important. And I wanted to get something, a tremolo, that was different, did different things, that would reel that string out and pull a string back without losing the witness point, without having the string go completely off of the saddle. Here, we're reeling it out and pulling it back. You'll always hear that roar.
One last thing, the routing for this is very minimal. The front two mounting screws are designed to line up with the outer two mounting screws of an American spacing Fender 6-hole bridge, not because of any other reason than American spacing was all that Fender made at the time. I mean, this is going all the way back to what prototypes started in 81, 82?
Yeah, it did. And by the way, I might mention they get a template for doing that routing as well.
And a bonus set of heavy springs so that you can also change the feel if you want. And you also have the option to add a heavy bar at the time of purchase and get a little bit off of that. So you can make this thing feel like a fulcrum, have it be a fixed bridge, dive only, that traditional, extremely light Kahler feel to it. Whatever you want. And all parts for the Professional are compatible with this. So if you decide that you want to change your rollers or you want to change your cam, you can do that.
Yep, sure can. There's a lot of options available. But the main tremolo is what you see, is what you get, is right here.
I always feel like I'm forgetting something because this thing really is packed so full of options. But you know what? We could go on forever. And I know that everybody's got a busy life. And Gary, I know that you're incredibly busy. You've got to go and run this company. So, made in the USA, high quality, special limited edition, black on black, custom color, 10% off for the first 2 weeks of October, or as we call it here at Kahler, Rocktober.
Rockin' October, Rocktober.
So until next time, this has been Eddie for Kahler.
And this is Gary, and let us hear from you.
See you next week.